Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the graveyard, and today I have a simple purebred necromancer PvP build for Battlegrounds, Imperial City, and Open World Cyrodiil. With this build, we're going to be utilizing some simple rotations along with pretty much all of the necromancer's offensive capabilities packed into one punch, giving you some insane burst potential. And of course, without further ado, let's jump right into the character sheet here. Looking at our front bar stats here, we are at 4,300 spell damage, and then our recovery is at 1,800 before our pots. Looking at the back bar here, our resistances unbuffed are almost 3,000 critical resistance before Rallying Cry, and then 16,000 spell and 13,000 physical. We are an Imperial on this build, 64 points into magic. Jewels and Mizrael is the food, and the Atronach is our Mundus Stone choice. Fully buffed up here with our back bar defensive sets. We have 25,000 and 22,000. Crit resistance will go up with a Rallying Cry when that is procced with Battle Spirit, but we can't showcase that since we are not in a PvP zone. And then our spell damage on the front bar here when we have our pot going is sitting at 4338. And then of course add another 300 weapon and spell damage to that for the maxed buff stats. And then of course jumping into our inventory here, because I'm keeping this build nice and simple just because I like to get out what I have on paper. It works pretty well. We're still using the Ritualist, but this time instead of using the Undead Army, we are going to be using the Colossus. Back bar, of course, Rallying Cry, you're going to have Defending and Sharpened as our traits here. And then for my weapon glyph, I just have the simple damage enchantment for an extra burst window. Balorg is the Monster Mask set here, just simply because when we do use our ultimate, we're going to get a bunch of penetration and spell damage, which goes a long way because our burst window is a bit longer with the morph of Colossus that we have, giving us the major vulnerability for a longer duration. Curious of the Trainee, and then of course 4 light, 2 medium, or you can have the 5 light and 2 medium with 1 heavy for your armored weights. Still using Monomyth just because, like I said, it's hard to pass up for the benefits that this set gives you. If you don't want to use this, then by all means use Markin. Markin's just a great overall mythic to put on and kind of forget about because it gives you some good resistances and weapon and spell damage for both offensive and healing purposes. And then Rallying Cry and Ritualist Ring and Jewelry. Ring and Necklace, and then just the multi-effect enchantment for our increased damage and recoveries. Looking at our skill set here, we are using a pretty broad range of offensive and defensive skills. Starting off with our Spirit Guardian, this is going to give us our 10% damage mitigation and some good healing over time. It's going to be buffed by our Mortal Coil. Simply by having it slotted, our healing done is increased by 3%. Ruinous Scythe, this does amazing damage because Ritualist buffs it. So we have 7,000 bleed damage, and then of course it's going to heal us at the same time, and additional enemy for each enemy hit. And then it's going to give us the hemorrhaging status effect, so we have a nice dot applied to them, and thanks to Rapid Rot, we have increased dot damage. And then setting them off balance is going to set us up for a good built-in CC that a lot of people forget about. So as soon as you get a heavy attack off, or if you're using a flame staff, you medium weave and you can CC them. Ricochet Skull, this is another great buffed skill by Ritualist. It's going to do flame damage and then 50% increased cleave damage on the 3rd cast. Blighted Blast Bones, bread and butter. Don't need to talk too much about this. Look at that cost too, by the way, 588. Glacial Colossus, this is going to give us 17 seconds of major vulnerability, and then it's going to CC them at the third smash, and it costs only 165 ultimate. Back bar, Temporal Guard, Resolving Vigor, Summoner's Armor, Race Against Time, Necrotic Potency, and Healing Soul. CP is not that important, like I said, just choose what you think you are missing in the build and then apply that to your champion point system. Our pots are going to be the spell draft pots from Cyrodiil to give us that major sorcery and major prophecy buffs. That's the build in a nutshell, guys. Peace out, stay frosty, and I'll see you in the graveyard.